the camp that you keep, the circle that you're within. Like, it's not just about me believing I'm something, it's about the people around me also believing the same. Like, and it's very, very clear this season that Arteta trusts him massively. You can tell. Like, I've been surprised at how much game time he's got. Because let's be honest, Arteta over the years hasn't trusted too much in youth, and towards the beginning of the season, I do feel like the only real reason that Myles Lewis-Skelly got as many chances as he did was because of injuries. Hey, it's me, half-time hooks, Hokage of the village, and I've been doing a bit of digging, and 52.5% of you that watch me aren't subscribed to the village, yeah? So, how's about you click that subscribe button, help the village grow, help us hit our targets, and enjoy the wonderful time that we share here together. Hope to see you soon. Peace. So, welcome to the Cannon Coffee Chat, where we're going to be talking about all things Arsenal. Yeah. So, this is this is gonna drop daily in the mornings. Obviously, depending on what I'm doing, will decide whether it will be a pre-record or whether it will be a live stream. But I just wanted to get out some daily morning Arsenal content for all of the Arsenal fans that are inside of my community, and all of the non-Arsenal fans that want to hear, I guess, my opinions on certain topics. But the first thing to make sure is grab your coffee. So if you haven't got one already, pause the video now, go and grab it, come back, and I'll catch you on the flip side because I got my coffee. You need that boost in the morning. So look, today we're going to be talking about Myles Lewis-Skelly and the interview that he had with Sky Sports. Obviously, I'll go through some of the things that he said. I'll give my opinions on some of the things that he said. And I implore all of you to, go and watch the full interview because I do think it is a really, really good interview where you get more of an insight into the character and mindset of Myles Lewis-Skelly. Now, let's be honest, he's someone who, in his breakthrough season at Arsenal, he's been portrayed by masses across social media in a negative light. There's been undertones of he's a thug, ill-disciplined, dangerous, all the red cards, yada yada yada, all of that stuff. The general kind of undertones that when a young black man in football is rising, doing well, blowing the scene away, people like to drag him down. And we've seen it happen before. Someone that we all know very well, he's even on the back of my shirt right now, Uncle Righty. He's come out and spoken about it. So it is something that exists. It's quite upsetting that it does exist, but I understand how the internet works. But I do think, the people that go out and touch grass in the world and, have friends and family and all that stuff, and, don't just sit behind their computer all day typing on a keyboard. They don't think this way. It is the masses on the internet, but I guess in the wider scope of things, it is a minority, but be it as it may, it is there. And I do think that this interview can change a lot of people's perspective on Myles Lewis-Skelly. So he does talk about on how he comes across, so calm and confident, and that's probably something that a lot of people don't like. But this is what he says: the confidence comes from the preparation. From young, my mum has instilled in me the positive psychology of journaling, manifestation, and gratitude. Ultimately, believing you're the best, and that's something I still work on today. So if I look a certain way when I'm playing, that's because I feel in my mind that's where I've been before. He's essentially saying, yeah, that I look this way because I believe this is where I am meant to be. I believe I've been here before. I believe I am a top player. Talking about visualization, which is the key to success, and he does talk about it a bit more with the interviewer. Now, visualization is something that we all know is very important in life. And there's been a lot of successful people in the world, a lot of successful entrepreneurs. They all talk about this visualization, speaking into the world what you want from the world, demanding from life what you believe that you are. And it's not just about saying things, it's about believing that that is already the current state. And this is what he says he's doing. And it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, if we're talking breakout seasons, especially not being in his kind of natural position, I think he's had an amazing season. I think he's been one of Arsenal's best players this season. And I think it is because of the mindset, and I think it is because of the practices that was instilled in him from a young kid that he's maintained throughout his youth journey that's allowed him to get into the Arsenal first team. Let's not act like that's not a big thing. And then he goes on to talk about, his thoughts on the Madrid game, and I feel like more of that visualization piece comes through because he says being present in the moment, engaging fully in the moment I am in, taking it all in and reminding my subconscious that I have been here before. Staying calm, remaining calm, because obviously the calmer you are, the clearer you think. That was my thought process. Aside from the visualization piece, he's clearly showing here that he's someone he thinks a lot. So in games now, when I'm watching him, like he's not just playing football. He's being very meticulous about his thinking. Like, and that's why sometimes you'll see him do things that you don't see other players do. Like, there's times where he just out of nowhere will drive from left back with the ball into the midfield, and then he'll just make that line breaking pass, and you're just like, whoa, I didn't expect you to do that because I'm not used to players at Arsenal doing that. And for you to kind of be doing that at such a young age and being that progressive is it's magical, really, from an Arsenal fan's perspective. It's magical to see that. And I know there's a lot of neutrals that actually like to watch him and give him his respect. And it's clear that, you know, the way that he's able to like perform on the pitch does stem from the mindset that he has and the kind of, I guess, steps he takes within his psychology to ensure that the reality matches up with that. So I think big props is given to him. He goes on to speak about how he wasn't feared by the big names, and the fact that he knows how big these players are: the Mbappes, the Vinny Juniors, the Rodrigos, the Bellinghams, the Modric's, Valverde's, yada yada yada, Rudiger's, all of that. For him, it made the game more exciting. So that kind of youthful element of being excited by going up against the big hitters, it comes through as well. So he talks about, the comfortability levels of playing at the Bernabeu. And this is what he says. Look, I was comfortable. I had the trust from my manager and teammates. So that also boosted me up and allowed me to have confidence in myself because they believe in me. That helps a lot. It's not just about what you believe as a person. It's about that kind of I guess uh net around you, circuit around you, like the camp that you keep, the circle that you're within. Like, it's not just about me believing I'm something, it's about the people around me also believing the same. Like, and it's very, very clear this season that Arteta trusts him massively. You can tell. Like, I've been surprised at how much game time he's got. Because let's be honest, Arteta over the years hasn't trusted too much in youth, and towards the beginning of the season, I do feel like the only real reason that Myles Lewis-Skelly got as many chances as he did was because of injuries to the likes of Zinchenko, to the likes of Calafiori, who I feel Calafiori was brought in to play that left back. And I feel like if Calafiori has a different season with injuries, I don't think you see as much of Myles Lewis-Skelly. But I do feel like there was a point where even Arteta went, yeah, this kid's different. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to start putting my full faith, full trust into him and see where it goes. And it's evident. look where he's come in such a short period of time. So I feel like we have to give him a lot of props on that. Now, he also speaks about the PSG game, which for me, it is good to hear the perspective of an Arsenal player on this. And he says, I feel like as a team, we are prepared, we are ready. We are in good form currently. We are excited to play PSG because they are in form as well. It will be a good challenge for us. He's up for the challenge. Yeah. And it's just more of that excitement that's playing in and more of that preparation. It's nice to hear that the players are prepared, fully prepared. And to me, that's a bit of an indicator that I, as a fan, can expect something good from this game. You know, I can expect something positive from this tie. Now, he does speak about currently being in good form, and I think that shows you how perspectives differ from the fan to the footballer, because there's been a lot of talk online about how we're not in good form, you know, because yeah, we beat Real Madrid, but we drew the game before that. We drew the game after that. We beat Real Madrid again. We just drew another game. Like, do you know what I mean? So there's always gonna be that kind of Arsenal drawn 13 games, whatever. We should be doing better, but it's just nice to hear a different perspective. Like I feel like in well, it's not just football. In any kind of like interest you have, you always want to hear as many different perspectives as possible, because I feel hearing more perspectives allows you to think about things in maybe a different way. But he does go on to say that he does feel like there's no excuse for them not to be ready. So again, when that whistle goes, I expect to see fire and flames from the beginning. Now, you know what? Yeah, he speaks a bit about Hayland, and he says something that I think is very it plays into the gratitude part that he was speaking about earlier. You can clearly tell he's a very thankful, very appreciative type of person. And he says, the person I have become is because of Hale End. And now as an Arsenal fan, that's good to hear. I like to know that, you know, my youth setup, my youth academy is doing what they should be doing, if that makes sense. Now, he speaks about, you know, how supportive of the journey that they are, and how they prepare you well for the first team. They instill the right kind of values in you from a young age, and he speaks about the DNA and references the likes of Castle, you know, Saka, which shows the club, yeah, history is being taught to these guys from a very young age. They have people that they can look up to from a very young age. Yeah, and he also references, you know, the likes of Adam Birchall and Perma Asaka, and he's very, 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 very appreciative and thankful of his experiences throughout Hayland. You know, and I feel like as an Arsenal fan, we can just be confident in the fact that we do have a system in place where young players are being taught of the expectations and the criteria needed to be a fully fledged first team Arsenal player. And I think he's an example. I think Nwaneri is an example of the current crop coming through, that they don't just have abundance of talent, they have the right mindset. And, you know, talent without hard work always gets beaten by hard work combined with talent. Like, do you know what I mean? Talent can't take you all the way. You still need to work as hard as the untalented guy that acknowledges that he doesn't have the talent, because he will beat you if you don't. And it's nice to know that the mindset is being drilled in daily. Yeah, you have to fight for more, you have to demand more. And that kind of coincides with his personal beliefs and his personal mindset. And maybe that's when Arteta speaks about culture, maybe that's why you're seeing someone like him start to shine, start to come through, because he ticks all the correct boxes. He does then go on to talk about him playing out of position. He says, I'll play wherever the manager needs me, and it's important at the level to be versatile. The top players in the world, they are able to occupy different positions. For me, I will do whatever it takes to be in the team. You know, he speaks about the pursuit of learning and how he always asks questions. And this mindset has helped him transition from a centre mid to play in the left back role. He has played left back in the at youth level, but I feel like that kind of hunger and desire to play and that versatility and that willingness to adapt has allowed him to transition a lot better into the first team and also transition into a position that he is not accustomed to, or at least not his natural position. And that kind of mindset again, further kind of playing into the fact that why he is such an important player to Mikel Arteta and such a valued player at Arsenal Football Club. Now, going on to his references for both his positions, left back and centre mid, I found this part very interesting. So he says, I like, for example, Marcelo, fellow Brazilian, because obviously the lady interviewing him, Brazilian. I like his passing range, very attacking fullback. Attacking wise, I'll say him. And then Maldini, centre back. He's not a left back by nature, but just his ability to read the game and timing of the tackles, I feel like it's exceptional. From watching YouTube clips of people like that is really beneficial to me. Now, it's funny that he mentions these two people because when you talk about passing range, Skelly's got that. Skelly also a very attacking fullback. Do you know what I mean? He's always driving into forward areas of the pitch. He's always inverting inside, getting involved in the middle and trying to progress the ball forward. Very attacking mindset. But then he's got the balance because his ability to read the game is definitely a few years ahead of his age. I think he's very good at reading the game. I think he does need to brush up a bit on some of his defensive actions and some of the decision making that he does make defensively. But I feel like that's natural because he's naturally a centre mid. That will come with time and more experience of playing as a defender. The timings of tackles, I think usually, I know there's been a few occasions where he's been a bit off, but usually his timing of tackles is really good. So it's at least good to know that the players that he's studying and he uses as references, you're starting to see kind of the points that they excel at, you're starting to see him excel at those points. So at least his learning he's a good learner. You can tell that much. And then he goes on to say, I like Patrick Vieira a lot. Arsenal captain of the Invincibles. I feel like his ability to command the pitch through attacking and defending is incredible to see, and the way he carries himself and possesses, you know, just the way he carries himself is astonishing to see. Vieira, a very physical presence, a very commanding presence. Like he was very unbothered on the pitch. Like he never went up against anyone and feared them. Mentally, oh, mentally, definitely someone that is very good to look up to. And I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's like close to Vieira or anything like that, but you can tell on the pitch the way he carries himself. He has that same level of confidence. He wants to command in all areas like Patrick Vieira. So again, another good reference point to have. And I mean, as time goes on and he further develops his game, I think we'll see more of that. So then he then goes on to speak a bit about his mother, and really people do go listen to this piece because he is very, very, very appreciative of his mother. He speaks very well about his mother. He does talk about how proud he is of her, and obviously she started her own initiative. I think it's called Number One Fan, where it's kind of, I think it's to help parents understand and have like a blueprint and guidance on how to help their kids develop and find their way through this very chaotic, very unforgiving footballing world. Now, he's very thankful for her support, and he goes on to say like she has got a killer mindset like me. If she wants to get something, she will. She definitely instilled that in me. So now we're seeing, sorry, now we're hearing, well, I guess you could say seeing because I watched the interview, him further kind of link the teachings from his mother. He does big up his father as well. The teachings from his mother, her mindset, how that's impacted him, and how, I guess, kind of all of that, back to that kind of positive psychology, being ever present inside of his daily life. Like, his mindset has been developed and nurtured by his mother. And I think the Myles Lewis-Skelly that we see today is a big part of it is down to his upbringing. And, even outside of the world of football, upbringing is something that's very important. So I just think that when you actually listen, because it's not just about what he's saying, it's about the tone he's saying it in. It's about the kind of facial expressions he's making when he's saying these things, the body language, all of that. You can tell that, like, when he speaks about his mother, he's got like this real glow. Like, it really does come through. It's genuine. And this is why when watching this, like, I find it so difficult of to understand, like, the perception that people have tried to paint him with online, if that makes sense. So again, really do go watch this interview. Amazing. Big up Sky Sports for this one. Now, on his biggest learning of the season, I'd say being adaptable, because obviously midfielder by trade, playing out of position, just really how to be adaptable and effective in anything you are on the pitch. Just being that player that can play different positions and help other players on the pitch. Now, this is like, he's Arteta's dream. To be so willing to, like, just be adaptable and do whatever you can on the pitch for everyone around you, it's just a joy to have. And do you know what? It reminds me, briefly, of Thierry Henry spoke about this once, where he speaks about how he was talking to Arsene Wenger about Freddie Ljungberg, and it was paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, like, Freddie Ljungberg, he never finds me. Like, why does he never find me? And then Arsene Wenger went to him, can he see you? And then Henri goes on to say, like, that triggered something in me, like, can he see me? And then he started to play in a way where he more so catered for the players around him, opposed to wanting the players around him to cater to him. And I feel like that was a major driving force in him becoming a more successful player. Myles Lewis-Skelly has that same mindset. You know, like he said, like, help other players on the pitch, because it's a team sport, and sometimes people forget that. Yeah, the personal accolades are great. I've scored this many goals, great. I've got this many assists, great. Like, a Ballon d'Or, this, great. You know what I mean? Player of the season, that, great. You know what I mean? Team of the season, that, whatever, cool. But when your teammate on the pitch needs you to be somewhere, are you there? Like, when your teammate flops, can you cover ground for them? Like, it really is what it is, right? So he then goes on to, like, how it feels about being involved in big moments for the club. Clearly talking about the Champions League. He goes, so special. We just want to keep pushing, and the next opportunity is to win this. And that's what our mindsets are on. Great, because so is mine. Win this. But it's nice to know that at such a young age, he's not shying away from this responsibility, because he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say that. He could have answered her question that in any way that he wanted. Really, he didn't have to put, like, himself in the firing line and say that he wants to win. He didn't have to do that. And I feel like you have to have the right mindset to be doing these things. And clearly he has that mindset. So now I can go into the PSG game. Positive. Okay, the players, their mental's in the right place, and that is one of the most important things about football. Yeah, mentally, you're in the right place. So just to close off, this video, he's basically asked, "Do you have a dream in football?" And I won't lie, I think his response kind of shows a the gratitude that he speaks about, shows the humility, shows the hunger, shows the desire, and I think completely destroys all narratives about him being a thug, being dangerous, being cocky, uh, anything around vanity, anything around not being a professional or having a professional mindset or anything like that. Any negative connotation or negative undertone that we've seen online, I think it's all finished now. Yeah, with this one quote. Yeah. So remember, do you have a dream in football? I'll just say, to outwork my potential. I just want to be the best version I can be every day. Wherever that takes me, I feel it will take me to a good position in this industry. But I just want to be a sponge, take in and learn from everyone, and just be the best version I can. Yeah? Doesn't talk about, yeah, my dream is to lift the World Cup, or my dream is to be the highest goal scoring defender or centre mid in the history of time, or my dream is to like knock down like all other players that have played in my position. Like, it's very grounded response, very grounded, and it shows that his upbringing, yes, be confident, believe in yourself, be ambitious, but at the same time remain humble, have humility, and keep your feet on earth. Hard work, be better than you was yesterday, and I promise you, you will get to where you want to go. So look, yeah, I'll say it again. Go and check out this interview because it really is an amazing interview to watch, especially as an Arsenal fan. But thanks for stopping by. I hope by the time you finish this video, you finished your coffee and you've enjoyed it. And look, on the way out, if you can just like the video, if you can subscribe to the channel, that would be great. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.